So, thank you all for joining us. The Alberta Chambers of Commerce has got a business resiliency program that we have been engaged in the last number of months. And that also has included some other things that have happened with Canadian Red Cross. And as part of all of those different program items, a partnership with EML, Emergency Management Logistics Canada, has been a really integral part of us moving forward. So, our speaker today is Scott Cameron. He is the president, CEO of BASA Social Innovations Inc., and a co-founder of Emergency Management Logistics Canada, an online platform designed to help communities build preparedness through connection. By bringing local emergency management organizations, businesses, and community organizations together in one shared space, local communities can pre-identify resources, build relationships, and establish levels of trust and understanding that helps to increase community capacity and resilience. Scott brings a community development perspective to all of his work. He understands that local communities can accomplish great things by working together and tapping into collective wisdom, networks, and shared resources. He is a graduate of the MA Interdisciplinary Studies program at Royal Roads University, where he focused on sustainable community development and leadership. Scott calls Calgary home. Welcome, Scott. Thank you for coming today.
Great. Thanks, Laura. Actually, as you were reading or doing the intro, I thought, well, that's the majority of the presentation, actually. So,
You've got
yeah,
lots of other stuff.
Yeah, no, thanks for working together with us to get this set up. I'll just note I'm joined today by my colleague Perez. So he's coming to us from India today. Actually, he's back home visiting some family, and so we're really glad to have you. It's late at night there for Paris, but great to have you here with us.
Everyone.
Yeah, so rather than have everybody sort of come off camera and introduce themselves, if you wouldn't mind just putting your name and the community you're from in the chat, that would be great. It just gives me a sense of the communities and the organizations that are here on the call with us today. So it's my pleasure to talk to you today about disaster preparedness. And emergency management is one of those things that is when it's in the headlines, it's in the headlines, but it's typically at the response phase. Even in the recovery phase, where Jasper is, for example, right now, in the recovery phase, we're not hearing about what's happening in Jasper. And we certainly don't hear in the mainstream media or any media about the preparedness piece. And that's actually one of the pieces that's really where this work gets a foothold. So before I jump into this, I'll give you a little bit of context in terms of how this all came about. So if you're not familiar, the United Nations Disaster Risk Reduction published a framework back in 2015, 2014, the UN Sendai framework. And in it, there's a particular emphasis on a concept known as the whole of society approach. And so, right from sort of a global level, the United Nations is talking about the best way to be prepared, the best way to mitigate disasters is to be prepared, and for everyone to have a role in that. And so as we were looking at this initiative, we thought, I think we could do better at least bringing the different sectors together. And that's really where this notion of the EMLCanada platform came from. So it is an Alberta-made innovation. I've been to some tech conferences, and every once in a while I'm scratching my head thinking, am I tech? Like, I don't feel like I'm tech, but apparently this is a tech solution to a real initiative. And today is made possible because of the work that we're doing together with the Alberta Chambers of Commerce and the Canadian Red Cross. And Just a shout out to both those organizations. Laura and I started meeting probably close to this time last year, and have been having these conversations because, of course, local chambers of commerce are connected into their local business community. And so it just made sense. And then, of course, the Canadian Red Cross is ever present, both on the ground in advance of, during, and long after the fire trucks and the first responders have gone. The Red Cross is still there, helping communities and building capacity and in those recovery efforts. So let's dive into this a little bit. So the Emergency Management Logistics Canada, what is it? It very simply, it's a directory-based business designed to better connect emergency management organizations, businesses, and community organizations. So historically, and so I'll talk a little bit about my background. I come from the municipal government background. I used to be the manager of social planning for the city of Red Deer. And part of my role with the city was around emergency social services. So I had responsibility for the evacuees. If there was a situation, we needed to take care of people evacuated from their homes. That was part of my responsibility. So of course, we had lots of human service organizations that were part of our ESS strategy. And we always tried to make sure that we were staying connected with them, had all the most current information, so that when we needed them, we weren't dialing them up, cold calling them, saying, hey, do you have cages or kennels to be able to support pet care for evacuees? We weren't calling them saying, hey, do you happen to have somebody that can provide translation services in our reception center? We worked at building those relationships well in advance of any situation. And that's what the EMLCanada platform is designed to do. And so it's the simplest of concepts. Rather than every municipality and every chamber of commerce and every United Way just building and maintaining their own contact list and not sharing them. Of course, the Alberta Chamber is going to have their own list of chambers. There are 108 members, Laura. And they have them for those purposes, but they're not necessarily designed specifically for the emergency management side. So the way it's working right now is that most emergency management organizations are building and maintaining their lists annually or semi-annually, or when we did some early surveys building this out, there was a surprising number, probably about 70% of emergency management organizations like municipalities that either didn't have a current list or it really wasn't in good shape. And so this is just a way for everyone to build and maintain their own information on a shared platform, so that we're not only helping local municipalities, but they can find out who's on their neighbor's list as well. So the network power is really strong in this particular platform. So, why does this matter? First of all, when we ask local businesses if they want to help, if their community is in need, it's an overwhelming yes. They don't know what that means necessarily. They might not know how they would fit, but overwhelmingly, if a community is experiencing a disaster or an emergency situation, local businesses want to be there. They have products, services, supports. They know the community. They want to be able to help. And what we've seen are examples, especially given this relatively new phenomenon of a large-scale evacuations, where the need for resources exceeds the capacity of the local community. And what we've seen examples of are local businesses standing outside the yellow tape because they've been evacuated, and somebody else has recruited product, services, or supports from somewhere else, and they're in the community working. And so there's this disconnect between local businesses that have the products, services, and supports that could help out, but they've been evacuated and somebody else is coming in. So we know that, these are this is FEMA data, but it's been cited a number of times in the Canadian context that 40% of businesses do not reopen following a disaster, and an additional 25% fail within 1 year. So if we can shift that narrative by better connecting local businesses to the decision makers who are on the front lines of the logistics, and just to back up for a second, the reason our company is called Emergency Management Logistics is because that is the section of the incident command system that deals with procuring and securing resources. So that's why we're called Emergency Management Logistics. So if we can shift that conversation so that the first line of access to product, service, and support is the local communities, then we're actually stimulating the local economy. So rather than paying somebody else from outside the community to come in and provide products and services, meanwhile local businesses are shut down, how can we best use our local businesses first? They're the ones that need the support. And of course, sourcing local means that you have ready access to resources, supplies, services, whether that's heavy equipment, whether that's food that could spoil if it's not used, whether it's spaces, amenities, supports, that accessing those first means that you're using what's closest to you, which is readily available, and it's a more efficient way of getting what you need when you need it. And as I said, it's also an important stimulus to local economic recovery. So just one last piece is that when the whole community works together, you're actually building capacity and resilience. And you don't wait until the disaster happens to start doing that work. In Canada, the disasters are the responsibility of the local jurisdiction. So that's why our platform is designed to connect the local emergency management organization, like the municipality, with local businesses and local groups and organizations. So it is that whole of society approach that actually strengthens the community. It's important, though, that it's done before the disaster happens. We often here in emergency management, exchanging business cards at the site of the disaster is not the right time. This work needs to happen up front. So how does it work? So we've designed a centralized platform, and this isn't a new concept, but the technology that's gone behind it is new and improved. The province of Alberta has had in the past a program called Bits and Pieces. Even in chatting with some of the ministers, it's a throwback to the 1950s post-war era of assembling local resources. So the concept of what we're doing isn't new, but the mechanism by which we're able to do it is new and elevated. So it is, in fact, a centralized platform. So if you're in Lethbridge and you've built out your local resources, your businesses are on board, your chambers on board, your local churches, your community organizations, your municipality, then you've created your own local network. And now, if you're in Bow Island or Tabor and you've done the same thing, now you're starting to connect those networks. So all on a centralized platform. If I'm the municipality, if I'm the city of Lethbridge and I'm looking for certain products and services and they're not available here in my city, then I can look to neighboring communities to see if there's businesses that have what I need and then add them to my resource management list. The real-time access is important to this because everyone on the platform builds and maintains their own information. You have 24/7, 365 access to the information that you put on and maintain on the site. We've also designed custom logistics tools. So as a municipality, for example, builds a resource management list with local, regional, national resources that they feel they need, if there's a disaster, they can simply post an activation notice on the site, and it'll immediately notify everybody that's on their resource management list. So if you're a local business, you will get an immediate notification when there's something happening in the municipality, which allows you to open up the platform, read the activation notice, and determine whether you have the product, services, and supports that the community needs. And right from inside the system, you can offer support. That offer of support goes directly back into the municipal logistics section, where they can now download all the offers of support. And rather than cold calling businesses, they already have a list of, I wouldn't even say warm leads, I would say hot leads. Like, these are businesses that have what they need when they need it. And then we step back. We're not part of the procurement process. We're part of the connection process. And to do that, we need that network built in advance. It is easy and efficient. We've decided to allocate accountability and responsibility for the content on the site back to everybody that's on the site. And if you'll see an example, but when you look at a profile, you'll notice a date and timestamp right on the profile. That says the last time this group or organization or business was in the platform was on such and such a date at such and such a time. Now, we're just finalizing some of the automations. This is Praz's area of responsibility, where our system will automatically notify you if your information is out of date. So I believe, Paris, we've talked about every 60 days, every 180 days, 1 month before the year, and you'll get sort of these heat warnings in terms of maintaining your information. And really, signing on and updating your information is as easy as opening up the profile, opening up the platform, checking to make sure the information is all good, saving it, and that resets your date and time stamp. So I'm going to pause here, I'll just go a couple slides, and then I'll pause and ask for any questions. So, we talk about building and maintaining your own information. It is simple. Laura, you might be able to speak to this. I see Michelle is on here. Polly has just recently brought on a new profile from Rocky View County. So we know that things change, people change. So your profile is available to you 24/7, 365. So if you happen to be out sitting on a beach in Hawaii when all hell breaks loose in your community, you're like, dang, I didn't update my profile and put my second in command on the profile. Log in, make the change, save it, boom, you're up and ready, and you're current. What you want to highlight is up to you. So if you have new products, if you have excess stock, if you want to highlight purple socks and popsicles, that's completely up to you. We have a marketplace on the platform that you can promote your products, services, and supports. There's post types that allow you to identify sale items or featured items that would have wide appeal. So the marketplace is a great place for local businesses to promote what they have. And it's not just for disasters. Even though it's being designed and built for the purpose of local emergency management and disaster preparedness, if you have a project going on and you need porta potties for your special event, there's nothing saying that you can't log on to EMLCanada, search for porta potties, find the vendors closest to you that have already sort of demonstrated a commitment to community emergency management, and contact them directly to the platform. So it's not just for disasters. You can use it anytime. And as I said, you can also receive those activation notices. As a local business, signing on using the Canadian Red Cross code. Maybe Perez, you can put the CRCAB code into the chat. When you sign on as a local business, we'll automatically connect you to your local emergency management agency. So we will automatically put you onto their resource management list as long as they have a profile. And so that is also a place where local chambers of commerce can make a difference. I think when we built it, we thought the municipalities would be the first ones on and then reach out to business. But there's nothing saying that the local chamber of commerce can't be the first one on and reach out to the local municipality and their local businesses to start building that as a community network to make the community more resilient. Yeah, so just quickly, I mean, we talked about receiving alerts. This is not like the Alberta emergency alert system. Every time a child goes missing or there's a storm or something brewing, you don't receive alerts. The alerts that we've built into the platform are for your local community to notify you if there's a disaster happening. And they'll only notify those that are on their resource management list. We've got the robust search tools. You can search by type, kind, keyword, category, location. So it's a very robust way of finding what you need when you need it, because if you're in the middle of a disaster, you don't always have the capacity to think about all the right words. So local businesses can even upload hundreds of keywords that describe their products and services. And then, of course, the resource management side. Local municipalities can build their resource management list, and we're in the process of upgrading that so that those that are on the resource management list that have already been vetted and are part of an approved vendor list will be able to be connected to an approved vendor list. But it's also a mechanism then for local businesses to reach out to their local community and get onto an approved vendor list, going through whatever procurement guidelines they have. So I'm going to pause there, Laura. And Paris will kind of keep an eye on the chat if somebody wants to ask their questions there, or by all means, pop off open up your camera or unmute and comment or.
Yeah. Is there any questions from the floor? Well, I have a comment. In talking with businesses, have said a number of times, if you're not on the approved vendor list, you need to reach out and get this done now, because when there's an emergency, the finance department isn't going to be taking the time to do a credit check. So, get that done ahead of time so that you're on their list, you're not worrying about it, and then your municipalities are able to reach out and start using your services instead of, as you've talked about before, products and services coming from other places outside the yellow tape because there wasn't somebody that was locally available. I think that your program is great, and it gives people a place to put all of the things that they can offer, and people can easily find them.
Absolutely. We, and on the procurement side, we had a request from a municipality in British Columbia to say, is there somewhere that we could actually post what our process is for approving vendors? And we said, no, actually, that's a great idea, because every municipality is going to have a different process to go through. So we actually created a post type for procurement regulations. And so municipalities can just post their own procurement guidelines right on the EMLCanada platform. So if you're wanting to connect with a municipality outside your local community and you don't know them, you can reach out through the platform, but you can also find out, if they've posted it, what their procurement guidelines are. other thoughts? I just don't want to kind of steamroll through the whole thing and miss out if somebody had a question along the way. But if there are none, then I will steamroll away. So I want to talk about I want to talk about Stettler because they've certainly been, I was chatting with Byron yesterday and again this morning. They've been a shining star. So Byron Geddes, who some of you may know from the Stettler Board of Trade, sat down with Clint Symes, who is the Director of Emergency Management for the Stettler Regional Emergency Management Agency. So in SREMA, they've got the town, the county, 2 summer villages, and 2 villages that are part of their Regional Emergency Management Agency. And Clint and Byron sat down and they sort of did this needs assessment, like what are our biggest risks and what are the product, service, and supports that we would need to address those risks. And they came up with a list of groups and organizations, businesses, and then set out. It was about this time last year. I remember they were out for a couple of days, and it was like totally freezing cold, minus 30, and colder. And they went door to door to those businesses, and they walked in the front door and they said, "Hi, we are Clint and Byron. Here's who we are, and we're here to talk to you about emergency preparedness. And we want you to be part of a new initiative that we're launching across Stettler and region." And overwhelmingly, businesses said, "Yes, of course. Thank you. Thank you for showing up at my shop. First of all, now I know who you are." And they had the sign up for local business on a QR code, and they just said, "It's easy. Simply just scan this and fill out the first bit of information and hit send, and you're in." Then we can help, as EMLCanada, to build them out. But it's as easy as going in and having a conversation or inviting local businesses, because they're going to want to help. If you ask, they want to help. Now there's things happening with Stettler. We're planning an event out there in March where we're going to be participating in a trade show. We're going to be hosting sort of I don't want to call it a cocktail party, because it isn't. It's a meet and greet in advance of an event, their employment fair. We're going to be sitting down with Clearview Public Schools, who immediately understood that they have gymnasiums where people can gather. They've got commercial kitchens in their high schools where meals can be cooked by organizations like the Salvation Army. They have a ton of resources. They've got transportation networks. So we're working with Clearview Public Schools to build out an exemplar, if you will, of a school division that can list all of their products and services available in a disaster. So, kudos to Stettler. As Clint says, it wasn't onerous work, and it's work that we needed to be doing anyways. And the connection between the chamber and Clint has only strengthened, because now they have a shared mechanism to build capacity in the community. So let's talk a little bit about the community benefits. When you're sourcing local products, supports, and services, it's far more efficient and quicker than bringing in resources from outside. If you've got products and services on your shelves, and if you're shut down for any reason, and those products and services need to be off your shelves and in use, that's going to speed up the response efforts. I can't underscore the importance of local knowledge enough. If you're an outside business coming in with heavy equipment or whatever, you don't know the neighborhoods. You don't know where you're being sent. You don't know the nuances of the community like a local business does. So, we can't highlight enough that local businesses understand their communities. They bring that deep knowledge and understanding They know who's who. In fact, they bring lots of other assets beyond just their products and services. Local businesses have also established relationships with supply chains. So rather than somebody sitting in a municipal office who doesn't do logistics on a regular basis, trying to figure out where you're going to source socks or mittens or cots or whatever it is, it's far better to be able to tap into the local businesses that already have those supply chains established and have them work with the local municipality to bring in the products and services needed. They've also got the supplier and transportation networks, so they know how to get things from outside into their business. And finally, trust is such an important piece. More and more, we have this polarity thing happening nationally, internationally, provincially, whatever it is. But community is where we can really establish strong trust. So rather than be that business that's standing on the outside of the yellow tape, angry with the local community because somebody else is delivering products and services in your community, be inside the yellow tape because you've already established a relationship with the local community that's going to be making those decisions. So in terms of how does this work, easy peasy. You visit EMLCanada.ca. When you visit that, our website, you'll notice a become a member button up in the top right-hand corner of the site. It's as easy as clicking on that. And then you'll also see right now, there's a button that talks about CRCAB eligible membership categories. So our partnership with the Canadian Red Cross makes it free for every Alberta municipality, First Nation, Métis community, local business, and community organization. And that's something that we're looking to and hoping that we will continue. Certainly the indications are positive, but the agreement that we have right now until at least the end of June, where if you use the code CRCAB and you, for any one of those categories, there's no charge to sign on the platform. It'll immediately take you to some questions where you actually complete your profile. What you're seeing on the right-hand side is a screenshot of the dashboard. As soon as you've signed on to the platform, you'll be taken to the dashboard. So in this sort of center area with the green buttons, that's actually where you manage the information that you're displaying to everybody else out there. Your account information in terms of billing, changing passwords, those types of things, which plan you're in, appear here. And then the logistics tools appear on the right-hand side. And we don't leave it up to chance. We've developed a relatively robust support system. And of course, we have folks that you can work on one-on-one, so you can book some direct. We're hosting regular webinars on using the platform and things like the marketplace. We have a monthly newsletter, and the newsletter does a couple things. First of all, it provides you with just a little bit of information every month and reminds you that you're part of an emergency management process in your community. But it also tests every email address that's in our system every 30 days. So if somebody has left your organization and their email address doesn't work anymore, we're going to pick that up. We're going to follow up and say, hey, what happened to Laura? Her email bounced. And they can say, well, she got a promotion and has a new email or whatever the situation is. There's a knowledge base with some videos and different guiding documents. And of course, access to the marketplace and some ideas about elevating your profile on the platform. So once you've completed the profile, we encourage you to explore the site and see how you can actually use it best. I should note that completing your profile, Polly, you might be able to pop into this conversation because you've just done it in the last few days, but it's not a difficult process. It can take a little bit of time depending on how detailed you want to put it, but the process itself is quite simple. Access other member supports, and then spread the word. Invite others. We're in the business of building networks, and that takes time. So we've been around since 2020. We currently have about 30 plus communities on the platform right now. And I would say, Stettler is a great example of what's possible. They now have about 50 different groups and organizations on their resource management list, because they've gone out there and they've built that network over time, over the past year. By all means, follow us, like us, do the social media type stuff. We always appreciate that elevated profile. And just a reminder that, it used to be that we'd gear up in the spring for disaster season, floods and fires, especially here in Alberta. But really, there's no disaster season. It could, a major snowstorm, a hailstorm, a train derailment, a toxic spill, so there's any number of things that could be happening in our communities at any time. So we really encourage folks to start today, and the best way to start is to sign your local chamber up as a member and invite your business members to be part of it. So I will pause there and see if there's any questions at this point.
Any questions from the floor?
I've not known the chamber member, the chamber group to be quiet.
Yes, it's a very quiet group. So I will ask a question. Right now, due to your partnership with the Red Cross, it is free of charge. When that runs out, what type of cost is it to be involved?
So we've designed the platform so that hopefully cost isn't a major issue. So for a municipality to sign on by themselves is $549 a year. So it's a subscription fee. For a local business, it's $49, but we'll be doing everything in our power to try to limit any cost to local business. Because I think to myself, if I'm a mom and pop pizza shop, and I of course want to be able to help out if there's something going on in my community, but if nothing happens in the next 5 years and I've spent $250, and then you buy $150 worth of pizza, I haven't even sort of recovered. And so we'll be doing everything we can to continue making the local business profile. Now, the local business profile allows you to connect to to your local emergency management agency. But if you have businesses in your community that can provide support regionally, provincially, or nationally, then there's paid memberships that allow you to show up on a broader search tool. So, and those range from $99 a year to, I think a national is $799 a year. So we're still not talking about a lot of money depending on the level of reach.
Excellent. Great. Is there any questions from the floor? There does not seem to be. That tells me that you
information
explained
is
it.
good, or that everybody's nodding off. Well,
No, I'd say that means that you explained it very well. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, we see a comment from Michelle about excited to see this collaboration. Yeah, it's a really good thing, and I think that we can work on helping out a lot of municipalities. So thank you very much for your time today. And we've recorded this, so if somebody was not able to make the call, I will definitely make sure that they get the recording. And if anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me, or Scott's contact information is in the presentation here. Scott, could you send me a hard copy of the presentation that I can share?
You bet. Yeah, I'll have that to you right away this afternoon. I also just threw my email address in there.
Perfect.
And yeah.
That sounds good. Okay. Well,
You
thank you
bet.
very much. And
Okay.
Paris, have a great vacation and visit with your family.
Thank you very much. And I have a message to, for everybody. I'm putting a PDF in the chat,
Okay,
and that PDF is really explaining how you can be part of your, local, how you can make impact and be part of emergency preparedness in your local community, and you can share it with somebody that you think would be helpful for them, and they can join uh, on our platform. Thank you.
perfect.
Great.
Thank you very
Thanks, Barry.
much.